and being handed the medal.
For the 8 milers and the 16 milers. Thank you, guys.
Two minutes.
Very, very choppy in this section of the dam, and it flattens out at about the 600 meter mark. So once they get into that 600 meter mark, it's going to come down to the guys who are getting the break. But Chip Peterson, he is really going with a high stroke rate, very similar to Ashley Twitchell. He is the training partner to Ashley Twitchell as well. But Ferry Weertman has such a slow stroke rate here. He's not even working his legs. So I think he's going to be the danger man here. But Mathew Meyer is right on his legs, and sitting on his shoulder is Chad Ho.
Some of that chop, and that is something very difficult to contend with, because that makes sighting of the finish and the line that you want to take a particularly hard one to follow. But the fact of the matter is, if we take a look at whereas if you take a look at how the man up front, Chip Peterson, was stroking, that's very quick. Chad Ho has very much got that same kind of lazy stroke. It's you can tell the long distance swimmers who know that it's about energy expenditure and the way that you spend it all. Bruce Fordyce, 9 times comrades winner, always used to say, you've got a pack of cards, that's your energy, and you give away those cards very grudgingly, and you only really give them away in the last quarter of the race, because then you have to have many left to give away.
I've always been concerned about the athletes or swimmers or cyclists that do well in the start, you know, that they burn out, and I always have been to win.
Well, Peterson is up at the front there, although right now it would be a fairly big blanket, but you can cover them with a big blanket. At the moment, all 4 of them, as we predicted, the 4 names that we've been touting all weekend long are together. But Peterson is the one making the pace, and that's the interesting thing for me, is that he's prepared to go out and make the swimming there. Oftentimes, though, that has its own pressures and its own energy sapping kind of effect on your swimming, and that's something that one has to keep in mind as well.
Well, moving up, you got 50 meters to go to the 800, and it's the Olympic champion who's just picked up the pace. I saw him give a little kick here, and his stroke rate picked up, and he has now gone into the lead. He's going to take this 800 meter hotspot. Chip Peterson has Mathew Meyer right on his shoulder. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 people, just basically 3 body lengths apart, but it's definitely in 8 minutes 55. Okay, we have the Ferry Weertman taking that hot spot, and then right on his feet now is Chip Peterson, who's lost his cap. I'm quite sure that Ferry is also going to lose his cap. It looks like it's sort of easing up off his head. And Mathew Meyer sitting right there next to Chip Peterson, and Chad Ho just content to sit on their feet for now. I'm sure he's going to try and race it just like he raced Mathew Meyer last year, but I think there's going to be a big race, which is now 4 of them and not just 2 like last year. So really, the Ferry Weertman, if you have got pictures on the screen over there, he's picked up the pace and he's now forcing them to chase him. So it'll be interesting to see if it's a similar race to what happened with Ashley Twitchell, where she broke away just after this point.
But honestly, there is nothing to choose from these 4 swimmers right now. Chad Ho is playing the waiting game. I think that's the harder game to play, because you're putting yourself in a position where it's going to take a big push to get next to and then past Weertman. At the same time, though, Peterson is also there.
So let's go back and join Wayne Ridden. Well, it looks like it's really hotting up out there, Wayne.
Right, it's definitely hotting up here now. You've got Ferry also losing his cap there, and the break has happened now. Chad Ho picked up the pace. They've now gone ahead of Chip Peterson, who's now holding on as much as he can. But the chase now is with Mathew Meyer and Chad Ho right on the feet of Ferry Weertman. What a fitting finale it's going to be with a race like this for the 44th aQuellé Midmar Mile. And really to all the people that support the event, the Navy out there, the SAP diving unit, everything. They can watch this thing live out there. You can see all of their boats out there, and it's so good to see a race like this ending the 8 races over the weekend. It is definitely a race that's not over like in the previous one where Ashley broke away at this point. Ferry is not breaking away from Mathew Meyer and Chad Ho. Chad Ho is not going to give up his 8th title here in an easy fashion at all. So I'm sure you're going to see the race getting really strong in that last 400 meters. So we're about 200 meters to go to the 1200 meter mark, and I'm sure you're going to see something happening shortly. So over to you for about a minute.
Well, for a minute it will be, and we're watching on the screen. Thanks a lot, Wayne Ridden. Arnold is just unbelievable. We are seeing, of course, from the camera ship. That's what Wayne and them, they right there. And yep, it's our man from the Netherlands, and he is just moving.
Well, it also looks to me like the stroke frequency has now increased. They're going faster than what they were, and even that unhurried stroke from the Dutchman is now faster. The cadence, as the cyclists would call it, is definitely tuned up, and it's lovely to see the two South Africans working together. So if training partners Ho and Meyer can keep up the pressure, that will make a difference. They're right on the feet of the Olympic champion over 10Ks, who triumphed over Ho by just 5 seconds, but there were another 9 swimmers between them, and there's nothing to pick between the two South Africans. This is impressive. Peterson is holding on for dear life at the back of what the paddlers would call a diamond, but the fact of the matter is this is absolutely awesome swimming at the moment. Any of you out there who cannot see the finish line, I urge you to come closer and come and welcome our men as they come towards the finish line of the 44th edition of the aQuellé Midmar Mile.
Well, that was our minute. Are you guys? Let's go straight to Wayne.
Right, Brian, I tell you what, there's nothing in it. There's still 4 men here that could take this title. Okay, Ferry Weertman is actually really trying to go hard, but Mathew Meyer is now sort of edged about a half a meter closer. It looks like Ferry is going to take this 1200 meter mark, but there's still nothing in it. Okay, and Chip Peterson is not giving up that easy either. He hasn't dropped an inch behind, so maybe he's decided that he's going to wait for that final sprint. But if you have a look at it now, Mathew Meyer is moving closer and closer for the hot spot. So it's going to be interesting. It's still going to be Ferry Weertman, definitely followed like within a half a meter or so of... So we're sitting 13 minutes 42 at that mark. And now Mathew Meyer is starting to go. So right as they got there, Chad Ho is now going. So they all now, you got Mathew on one side of Ferry, and you've got Chad on the other side of Ferry, and Chip Peterson is going with them. There's actually just 3 meters between the 4 in a big group, so this is going to be one big photo finish, and it's going to be who can break here. So we're going to come into the slipway to watch this very, very most exciting men's finish of all time. Over to you.
Well, thanks a lot. Brilliant commentary there from the boat, and now we are watching them. They're in a V formation. The leader with the 2 wingmen, if one wants to talk about it in aviation terms. Arnold, this is what good racing is all about.
Well, I want to say to you, in Afrikaans ons sê, ek wil my verstout om te sê that this is probably the tightest finish that we've had in the 44-year history of the race, and how fitting it is that we should have the Olympic champion over 10Ks here, as well as South Africa's finest, chasing 8 wins in a row, the young upstart Mathew Meyer, and then of course the American champion Chip Peterson. It's all to play for with a little bit less than 300 meters to go now.
Well, it's really getting exciting now as our commentary team will move out onto the ramp. Still no change in the lead as they're now moving down, and this is where the crowd that have surged forward can already see no change. And very, very exciting, world-class swimming. Let's go over and join Frank, who is on the ramp at the moment. Frank, are you guys ready for a world-class finish?
Well, Brian, thanks very much. I've been joined by Martin G. We're on the slipway over here. You can see the lead swimmers have broken away on the left-hand side of the lane. In other words, on our right, you can see them out there. Having pulled down to the blocks, Chip Peterson pumped out very, very quickly, taking an early lead. But by the time the 800 rather came along, Ferry Weertman was cruising right up there in the front. And then Chad Ho and Mathew Meyer, just like last year, on the 1200, suddenly kicked into gear, and it looks like it's going to be an extremely tight finish. Martin.
Yeah, this is amazing to see such a great race. It's good to see our Olympians here. It's good to see this race, not knowing who's going to finish or finish first. So, people, you need to be down at the start to watch the finish to watch this, because this is just going to be something for the record book. So stick around and shout these people in and clap as loud as you can, and especially if you're a South African and you want the South African to win.
Well, the interesting thing about this too is, remember last year it was Chad Ho who swam a time of 16 minutes and 1 second. So I guess it tells you to a certain degree that it has been rather tactical out there, and that's the one thing that one must remember. The other thing that I'd like you to do, I see our bank is absolutely packed here. Please, can you put away whatever you have in your hands and start giving us a very slow aQuellé Midmar hand clap, because they'll hear you in the water. So can we start with a very slow one? Slow, nice and slow. Slow.
Beautiful, it's working, Arnie. Well, of course.
Slow. And keep it going. Everybody in the house, please. Every pair of hands. Work it up a little. They'll hear you. Work it up a little more. And more. And now put your voices to work as well. Let's go fetch them and bring them home. This is awesome swimming. It's the finest finish we've ever had in the history of the aQuellé Midmar Mile. I'd like to see every pair of hands keep it going. They'll hear you that side. Let's bring them home. Waiting for Wayne. Here's Wayne.
All right, this is that young man, Mathew Meyer, who once told Rake Nettling he's going to beat him the next year, which he did. And I tell you what, this is a brilliant swim. Okay, the two South Africans have gone into first and second, and Chad is not going to give up. He's chasing as hard as he can to his teammate. But it is Mathew Meyer who's going to make his name for himself here and be the top person. He's the 18-year-old, just finished matric. What a brilliant performance from him. So Mathew Meyer waited, and here he comes. What a brilliant performance from this young man. Mathew Meyer, well done. Chad Ho, second place. Chip Peterson in third place. And Olympic champion Ferry Weertman, who led for so long, he was in fourth place. What a brilliant, brilliant finish.
Right, Mathew Meyer coming through in 18 minutes and 13 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Put a big hand together for the winners here today.
Yes, and Chad Ho, 18 minutes and 18 seconds. Chip Peterson, United States of America, 18:20. And Ferry Weertman, he was around 18:26 from the Netherlands.
So give him a big round of applause. Tyron Kruger, who has done an amazing swim here over the weekend. What brilliant swimming from him.
Yeah, I wish it was at the Olympics, but I mean, I'll still play the Olympic champion, so until you beat me, so yeah, it's very good friends, and I hope
Well, I've got Chad Ho with me. Firstly, Chad, a matter of the scholar getting the master.
yeah, I guess it's payback for last year, but I mean, I gave it everything. I left it all on the dam, and congratulations to Matt. I mean, he's been working really hard in training, so I knew it was going to be a tough challenge. Yeah, you know, I'm still happy with second. At least just we kept it here in SA.
Indeed. Was there pressure at first when Peterson took it out as hard as what he did?
Not really. I knew they were going to go out pretty hard. So I had my own tactic in my head, and I stuck to it. I unfortunately missed that little burst about 300 meters out, so that probably cost. But I mean, you know, I'm still happy with second, and we'll be back next year.
And how nice is it to get a little bit of revenge on the Olympic champion?
Yeah, I wish it was at Olympics, but I mean, yeah, I'll still claim that I beat the Olympic champion. So. Until you beat me again, so yeah, no, it's very good. We're good friends, and a little competition never hurts. So yeah, I'm glad that he came out.
Speaking on behalf of the whole of South Africa, we are immensely proud of you. Well done.
Thank you very much.
So Chad Owen conversation with us here, and a magnificent performance. Still waiting for young Mathew to come through, and we'll also talk to the Olympic champion.
Arnold, also, it was actually very, very nice to see the gentleman that Chad is when he's coming over the line in second place, giving Mathew a very, very good hand when he ran over the line, because he knows he gave it all, he tried his best, and today's second is his best.
Gentlemen, don't go away. I'd like to speak to all of you. I've caught up with Matt, and that must be the thrill of a lifetime.
Yeah, no, that's insane. I came in here wanting to do well, maybe cause an upset, but that was unbelievable. I mean, going out there and racing in those conditions with this caliber of competition was just, yeah, no, it's seriously, it's maybe once in a lifetime opportunity to be in this place. So I'm really stoked.